Your next trip to the petrol station will be a shock. Fuel prices are spiking across Australia. The cost has jumped dramatically and without much warning. On average, a litre of unleaded petrol now costs around $2.19. This is a significant increase that is already being felt by households and businesses nationwide. This sudden rise is not a minor fluctuation. It represents a serious shift in the cost of living and the cost of doing business. The stability that many families and industries rely upon has been abruptly disturbed, forcing an immediate reassessment of budgets and daily routines. The numbers on the big boards at service stations tell a story of growing economic pressure. This rapid price increase has caught many people off guard. Just a few weeks ago, prices were much lower, hovering around $1.69. The jump of 50 cents per litre has been swift and severe. Analysts are now forecasting that prices could climb even higher if the underlying causes are not resolved soon. Some predictions suggest that regular unleaded petrol could soar towards $3.50 a litre. This is not just an inconvenience, it is a financial blow to millions of Australians who depend on their vehicles for work, school runs, and essential travel. The change is so sudden that it leaves little time for people to adjust their spending habits. The core of the problem extends beyond the price itself. It touches on the nation's security and its ability to function. The immediate future is uncertain, and the high prices are a clear signal of the challenges ahead. The reason for this sudden fuel crisis is not found in Australia. It began thousands of kilometers away with a major conflict in the Middle East. A war has choked a vital artery of global trade: United States, Israel, Iran. Coordinated airstrikes were launched against Iran in late February 2026. The attack, known as Operation Epic Fury, hit military sites. The attack hit nuclear sites. Iran's response was swift. Missile attacks followed, and most critically, maritime trade was disrupted. The main disruption is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway, one of the world's key shipping lanes. In peacetime, about 1/5 of global fuel flows through it. After the attacks, Iran announced it would close the strait to US, Israeli and allied ships. That naval blockade created a bottleneck for oil. Passage is now dangerous and restricted. Oil flow has been severely reduced. International markets were shaken. Supply can no longer be guaranteed. Oil prices jumped. Crude passed $100 a barrel. Shipping risk also spiked. Alternative ports, including in Oman, were damaged. Shipping insurance rates rose 4 to 6 times. Those extra costs flow down the supply chain. Refiners, distributors, and finally, the consumer. Australia's current fuel problem highlights a long-standing national weakness. We are overwhelmingly dependent on other countries for our fuel. About 90% of our refined fuel needs are met by imports. We produce very little of our own petrol and diesel. South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan. Our energy security is tied to international shipping lanes and the political climate overseas. When a major route like the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, Australia faces severe disruption and price shocks. Low domestic fuel storage makes this worse. The IEA requires 90 days reserves. Australia is the only member not meeting that rule since 2012. Current stocks: petrol, 36 days. Diesel, 32 days. Jet fuel, 29 days. Any prolonged shipping disruption could produce shortages within weeks, not months. The consequences are now clear. Prices have jumped. Australia ranks 61st out of 100 for price per litre. But the speed of the rise is alarming. Prices climbed about 50 cents in the past 8 weeks, driven by overseas conflict. Global events quickly impact ordinary Australians' wallets. Our supply chain offers few quick fixes. Section 4. The human cost. Life in towns and on farms. The impact of the fuel crisis is felt most acutely in regional and rural Australia. In small towns far from major cities, the effects are not just financial, they are practical and immediate. This week, drivers in several regional areas reported that local service stations were rationing petrol. Some station owners have been forced to put limits on how much fuel a single customer can purchase. A service station owner in one small town described the situation as the worst fuel shortage he has seen in his 25 years in the business. For communities that rely heavily on road transport, these limits create significant hardship and anxiety about getting to work or accessing essential services. Farmers are sounding a particularly loud alarm. The agricultural sector is heavily reliant on diesel to power tractors, harvesters, and the trucks that transport produce to market. With diesel prices soaring above $2.60 a litre in some areas, the cost of producing food is rising dramatically. More worryingly, some farmers are struggling to secure enough fuel at any price. The National Farmers Federation has issued a stark warning. If fuel shortages persist, food prices could rise by as much as 50%. This would create a cost of living crisis far beyond the fuel bowser, affecting every Australian at the supermarket checkout. The anxiety in regional communities is palpable. People are worried about how they will manage. The fear of supply disruptions has led to a surge in demand, with fuel sales increasing by 35 to 40% in some areas. Section 5. Government inaction, a response to scarcity. The federal government acknowledges the severity of the fuel situation and has begun taking action. In a public address, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese urged Australians to remain calm and avoid panic buying. Shortages in some rural regions are being driven by people stockpiling fuel, putting immense strain on the supply chain. The government's message: reassurance and collective responsibility. Primary goal: stabilize demand and stop escalation into a fear-driven national crisis. A national fuel supply task force has been established. The task force will tackle shortages and improve domestic supply chain efficiency. Anthea Harris has been appointed to lead the task force. Her role: coordinate with fuel companies, transport operators and state governments. The government may release fuel from emergency reserves. Energy Minister Chris Bowen said up to 762 million litres could be released, a temporary bridge to meet the spike in demand and relieve pressure. The unseen risks. What happens if prices stay high? The immediate pain of high fuel prices is clear, but the longer-term risks to the economy and society are even more significant. If fuel prices remain elevated near or above current levels, the impact will spread far beyond the daily commute. The entire supply chain of the Australian economy runs on diesel. Higher diesel costs mean it costs more to transport everything raw materials, finished goods. This will inevitably lead to price increases across a wide range of products and services. Tourism could suffer. Travel by car and plane becomes expensive, pricing many families out. If global conflict escalates and shipping becomes impossible, widespread fuel rationing is the severe risk. It would be a drastic intervention into daily life. Section 7. Your next steps. Simple ways to manage the crisis. In the face of rising prices and uncertainty, there are practical and simple actions every person can take right now. The single most important step is to avoid panic buying. Purchasing more fuel than you need for the immediate week creates artificial shortages and makes the situation worse for your entire community. By buying only what you normally would, you contribute to a more stable and equitable distribution of the available supply. Resisting the urge to stockpile is a crucial act of community-mindedness. Secondly, focus on reducing your fuel consumption. Try to drive less whenever possible. For shorter journeys, consider walking or cycling. If you have access to reliable public transport, use it more frequently. Sharing rides with colleagues reduces cars on the road and fuel use. Make sure your vehicle is operating as efficiently as possible. Remove unnecessary weight and roof racks to cut drag and consumption. Avoid aggressive acceleration and hard braking. Drive steadily to conserve fuel. Stay informed via reliable sources and be wary of rumors that fuel panic. Plan fuel purchases at off-peak times if you can. By acting calmly and cutting consumption, we can collectively lessen the impact and keep Australia moving. Australia currently holds a very limited supply of fuel in its reserves. We have only about 36 days of petrol supply on hand. Jet fuel stocks are approximately 29 days. Diesel is at about 32 days. These low reserve levels mean Australia has a very small buffer to absorb disruptions in the global supply chain. This lack of resilience makes the country extremely vulnerable to international events, turning distant conflicts into immediate domestic crises. This situation creates a widespread sense of unease. For the average person, it means difficult choices. It might mean spending less on groceries to afford the commute to work. For businesses in transport and logistics, higher operational costs will likely be passed on to consumers. Fuel is not just a price tag. It is a critical component of the national economy.